Welcome to the best betting show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Week 7 upsets to bet. We're going to bag more underdogs. We've been on fire this year, and I got to tell you, one thing I take pride in more than hitting an upset is waving you guys out of troubled waters. Last week, I told you guys, do not touch the Giants with the spread. Do not touch that money line. I'm happy to throw the life jacket. Let's get in the water right now. First game, we're going to Lambeau. We got the Houston Texans at the Green Bay Packers. Texans +3. Texans winning the cover. I think the Texans win money line. And I get it. We haven't been happy with the Texans this year. But also, I think people were trying to create an upset last week that just didn't exist. They're forgetting the talent that this team possesses. They're forgetting, I know Nico Collins is out, but you're forgetting Tank Dell, Schultz, Mixon, and Stephon Diggs. Everyone's acting like Stephon Diggs can't play anymore. And I know this Packers defense looked really good the last 2 weeks, but I can't say I'm sold on them. And I'm sold on their front seven in terms of getting in the run fits. But we also saw that Texans offensive line make huge strides against the Patriots. I do think the Patriots defense is extremely overrated, but we know that front seven isn't easy to run against, and we saw Pierce and Mixon have themselves today. And I think this game comes down to simplistic terms. Cardinal type point from me. Stroud versus Jordan Love. I like the way Love is playing. I like the way Reed is developing. I feel like this Packers wide receiving core is trending in the right direction. But you give me Stroud in these type of situations, I'm going to put my money on the line, and he's won us a ton already. I think Stroud takes over this game, and we saw at times against the Patriots. We saw him starting to feel the vibe, and we finally saw the play action game from the Texans come to fruition. Now, the big matchup for me in this game is Packers offensive line against this front seven of the Texans. If the Packers can't run it well, I think the Texans can win this game by 10 points. I'm not telling anyone to go alternative line. I get the Houston hate, man. They were number 1 in pre-snap penalties going into week 6. It is troublesome. It has killed the rhythm, but I think they're trending in the right direction. Give me the Texans in Lambeau with the upset, and it's definitely an upset. That was one pick that really got the comment section buzzing on the Week 7 Vegas spread picks. Next game, we got the New England Patriots. We're going to London versus the Jacksonville Jags. Jags at their home stadium. Patriots +5. Listen, I'm worried about the Patriots injury report. We're looking at 10, 11 starters who were limited or did not practice on Wednesday. Maybe that was precaution. Maybe that was the travel. But I'm looking at the psychology of the Jags. We have to get on our couch and we have to lean back and play psychotherapist here. I'm looking at a Jags team that is crumbling before our very eyes. I'm looking at a coach in Doug Peterson. He's obviously on tilt. I think the only reason he wasn't a firing casualty was because they're over in London. Once he gets back, the Khan family is going to have to take him out to the pasture and old yeller them. But I feel like this Jags team is ready to be taken out back, and I think that's what's going to happen here. Did I see positive things out of Drake May? Yes. Do I think it was a little overblown? Yes. I don't know if this Jags defensive line can have the presence. I don't. And that's the big weakness of the New England Patriots. We can talk about the receiving core. We can talk about Mayo as a coach. But I think the weakness of the Patriots is their offensive line. But I just don't think this Jags defensive line is vicious, playing with motor, playing with verb, that's going to take over this game. And I think Drake May will create more plays than Trevor Lawrence. I'm worried about Lawrence. I was the biggest Lawrence supporter ever, but I have to eat crow. I feel like he's crumbling, even with all the targets, even with the young rookie playing phenomenal. It just feels like those guys shrink under pressure. And I feel like the Patriots come into this game swinging a hot stick. They got nothing to lose. No one thinks they're going to win the game. I got the Patriots. I just think Drake May's able to make plays, and I think eventually this Patriot secondary has to play better. Like Christian Gonzalez was absolutely worked and embarrassed. I mean, it looked like he was twerking with some of the moves Stephon Diggs was putting on him on those routes. Give me the Patriots. There isn't a lot of science, but I think this is one that could be the colossal upset of the week. Next game, Monday Night Football. We got the Los Angeles Chargers, our Los Angeles Chargers. Thank you, Harbaugh. At the Zona Cardinals, going to the desert, Zona +3. And I do think Zona responds this game. They were absolutely hapless against the Packers. They got spit out. They lost the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and that can't happen. I'm worried about Kyler Murray, but you want to know one thing I'm worried about from a Chargers perspective? I'm worried about the overall health of this team. I'm worried about Ladd McConkey banged up. Herbert desperately needs him to be that guy in the slot. He is giving me Wes Welker 2011 vibes. Like, that's how dominant he's been at times. But I think this Zona defense will respond because that's been the part that has been letting Zona down. We can talk about Kyler Murray's pocket presence. It's been bad. And you just look at his symbiosis, his connection with Marvin Harrison Jr., and it just hasn't been good enough. But I do think Murray will get stuff going this game, and I do think this Chargers defense is a little bit vulnerable. Are they physical? Yes. Are they going to win the line of scrimmage? Probably. But I do think in this game, the more firepower, the better wide receivers will take it home. And I do wonder how long this Chargers team can keep limping even after the bye week. The bye week was it was opportune for them. But you do wonder, is this Chargers team healthy enough? Does Zona respond? This is a last stand for Zona. And I don't mean to be dramatic because they did beat the 49ers, but they did get a little bit of the rub of the green in that game. Give me Zona. There isn't a ton of science, but it is an upset for a reason. And I want to have us ride the Chargers. It's just, let's get off this week. Let's get back on next week. And I want to talk about one game that I know a lot of people want to bet. I know a lot of people want to lay that 6 with the Bengals. And maybe I'm crazy here. Maybe I have Stockholm syndrome because the Browns won us so much money last year. But this Browns team is dangerous. When they're underdogs at home, they're extremely dangerous. The one thing that surprised me about the Browns this year, they just haven't been good at home. Remember that Dallas game? I just think the Bengals are a little bit of a favorite. I think that's going to be one of the most bet teams this week. I just want everyone to remember the Browns are still dangerous because you heard everyone saying last week the Eagles to cover against the Browns was the easiest money pick, and a lot of people fell in that trap. And we want to talk about this Lions game. Lions are underdogs, but it's moving +1.5. I do think the Lions win this game against my Vikings. I'm not changing my opinion. I'm not budging, but I'm staying with my original point. I think this game is a no bet. Why can't we sit back? Why can't we relax? And why can't we put the money elsewhere and wait to get back on the Dan Campbell ship? Wait to get back on the Flores O'Connell ship the next week. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Live call-in show Friday, 6 p.m. Get on Patreon, $5 a month. What you got to lose?